What do we dream?
What are we running from?
And what are we running to, bro?
How come what we
It's perfect.
How come what we have is never enough?
And why do we try to impress people around us?
Why do we want a nice car?
That one's pretty weird. Why do we even save money?
Why do we eat in excess of fatty foods?
All these needs, quote, greatly influence what consumes our mind and our focus.
In this series, we are talking about the needs that consume our mind,
And today we are starting with our most basic needs.
our physiological needs.
Let's dig in.
I'm Jonathan Noel.
And I'm Brian Noel,
This is Forms and Focus.
where we provide guided forms that manifest.
Radical focus.
Because we want you to be focused as bro, boy. So today we're talking about needs. That dude Maslow. Remember that guy?
Never heard of them.
Remember the hierarchy of needs that we learned about in school? The triangle, and like the bottom was like shelter and stuff, and the top was
Okay.
like, you know.
It's ringing a bell.
Yeah. So that's what we're talking about in this 5-part series.
Sweet, bro.
And the reason we're talking about it is because our goal is to focus on our dreams. That's what this podcast is about. And
Right.
oftentimes we end up focusing about like, I want more potato chips.
Right. What if you are more focused on all of your needs that may not be super important?
That's right. Like, I want
More shoes.
a nicer car to impress people that I don't even like.
Yeah, things like that.
Things like that. So here, let's dig into the problem, bro. The brain
What we
has
got?
its own type of memory storage. It's called working memory. And guess what?
It has a...
Extremely limited capacity.
Okay.
So there's only so much we can like have in that working memory that we're processing at any given time.
Makes sense.
We can't like process our entire history, our life, everything we know at the same time.
Right. You can't plan your whole life, businesses, while you're working, and you have stuff to do at home, and you have to cook dinner,
And learning a language
And you have to learn-
financial security.
and all that at once.
Yeah, you can't do that.
Huh.
One thing at a time.
That sucks. So this is from Science Direct. When we focus on anything for an extended period without breaks or distractions, then we become tired and exhausted because our energy has been depleted. So if you have that laser focus, it does wear you out.
Yeah. Have you ever noticed that, like, if you got into some type of disagreement at work and you're in your head just replaying the conversation over and over again and what you said and what you should have said, and you just get angry with that person and you obsess over that for like 30 minutes and then you just get tired and you want to like drink alcohol or take a nap?
It's not really something that happens to me because I don't work with people really.
That's true.
It's a luxury of not having
So
like
for those
people at the office.
who are listening to this podcast, if you can relate to that, that's what happens. Like you think about like whatever you do, that intense focus on whatever it is, good or bad.
For me,
it
it's
drains you.
if you're learning a difficult song,
Yeah.
you're really taking a crack at it, you know?
Yeah.
And it's tough. Like, this is ridiculous,
Yeah.
you know?
And you're
I'm like,
tired.
why is this bass line in this song feel like a 10-minute solo where they don't play the same thing twice? then I'm exhausted.
Exhausted. So,
So-
our brain's constantly consumed with ensuring our needs are met. So Abraham Maslow, 1908 to 1970, established Maslow's hierarchy of needs, the classic pyramid that you probably saw in school.
The pyramid can be broken down into two main categories. The first 4 levels are often referred to as deficiency needs,
D needs.
D needs.
D needs.
I got D needs. And the top level is known as growth or being needs.
B needs. And here is the breakdown.
All right, let's hear it.
So the brain struggles to focus on long-term goals without your basic needs being met. So what are our basic needs, bro?
Okay.
The bottom of the pyramid.
The bottom of the pyramid. So these are our physiological needs.
Yeah.
Okay. Breath.
Makes sense.
Yeah, and you die without that pretty quick. Water, also pretty quick. Food,
Yeah.
you get a couple weeks in, I feel like.
Yeah.
Or longer, I guess, if you're chunky. Sleep, shelter, clothing, reproduction.
Yeah. Those are our basic needs. Without those things, we die.
Yeah.
Either very fast breath or like within a generation or two, reproduction.
Makes sense. So it does make sense that if these are not met, you can't focus on other things.
Yeah.
Like if you're starving, no one's like, hey, I'm starving to death. Let me start a business.
Well, it's really interesting if you think about the extremes, right? So on our conscious and subconscious level. So if someone chokes you and you can't breathe, you freak out.
Yeah, absolutely.
You freak the
Yeah.
out. So think about how like almost the overwhelming majority of what we eat doesn't provide the nutrients that we need. So our body is constantly trying to find the correct nutrients.
So your body's freaking out.
Your body is desperate, just like when someone chokes you or you're underwater for an extended period of time and you're desperate for a breath, your body is desperate for nutrients.
Yeah, or if you're exhausted. Not that sleep is on here, but...
It's the most basic need, though.
Oh, sleep is on there. Just kidding.
Yeah. Yeah,
You know,
4
sleep-
days.
you
4
know-
days without any sleep. Like if you got
Yeah,
a
you
newborn,
literally go insane.
You go insane.
So sleep, I mean, it's like, you're drinking 5... What is the energy drink?
Oh yeah, Monster,
Whatever.
Red Bull.
I can't think of the one in my head, but
There's so many now.
who gives a shit? So you're hyped up on caffeine.
Yeah.
Your sleep schedule is trash. You haven't had good sleep in weeks or months.
Yeah,
How are you supposed to focus on anything else?
I
Your
know.
body's screaming.
Screaming.
You're so tired.
so tired. And then we talked about water, and we talked about drinking sugary drinks. We talked about all that. So
Yeah.
our bodies are thirsty. Our bodies are hungry for true nutrients. Our
Yep.
bodies are desperate for quality sleep.
Yep. A lot of times.
And who knows what we're breathing.
That depends on where you live.
Yeah.
Yep.
So if you think about that, that's the breakdown. It's hard for us to even move up the pyramid ladder
Yep.
if we're still focused on these things. So example, if we're living paycheck to paycheck, which most Americans are, according to the Lending Club survey, 64% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. These Americans are consumed with, will I have a job and be able to provide food, water, and shelter for my family next month? Will I have a job next month? Will I get fired? If
Yeah.
I get fired, then done.
Yeah. No. How many people are starting their passion projects when they're worried about paying this month's rent?
It's hard.
Are you like, you know what? I'm going to get some supplies. I'm going to start painting. I've always wanted to paint. might not have a house tomorrow.
Yeah. It's sad because a lot of people in their minds and in their heads and in their conversations with their friends, they have really good ideas. They're really smart people, but
Absolutely.
just for whatever reason, they're just not in that position. And so they're caught between those two realities, fighting for their most
So-
basic needs and then trying to get out of that
Well,
shit.
bro, beyond the basic needs, this doesn't even include other deficiency needs fighting for attention in our minds,
Oh, yeah.
which we can cover in the next episodes.
We will. We'll talk about the needs to be accepted, the need to be loved.
the tribal needs or
Yeah.
whatever, the group to
All
not
that
to not
stuff.
be shunned.
So there's a lot of deficiencies.
A lot of needs going
We're
around.
real needy. Do you think the animals are this needy?
Nope. Animals, it's eat and reproduce.
Yep. So while we often just get in line without questioning the line we are in,
Woohoo!
that's such a us statement. Many of us are simply grinding daily in effort to meet and provide for our family's most basic needs. Get in line, kid.
Get in line. Hey, my grandfather worked for 80 years and never took a day off. Get in line.
Get in line.
So,
Many of us dream to do what he did. Be out on a farm all day outside. That's tough work.
yeah, that's real.
We're pretty lazy
That's
when it
not
comes to
true.
that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So, bro,
We
we've got
want that freedom. We just don't want that kind of work.
you want the freedom, but without the fact that you
labor.
have to work 14 hours a day to scrap a living,
Yeah.
to scrape up a living.
Yeah.
So, bro, we've got these needs, the physiological basic needs,
These needs.
these needs coming up.
That's right.
So,
Solution. What are we going to do about it,
solution.
bro?
What are we gonna do about it? So, We need to be intentional about meeting our basic needs now and for the future, starting small.
I love this, bro.
Yeah,
Start small.
1 to 3 months saved for rent/mortgage.
Yeah, you know how good it feels to just know that if you got fired tomorrow, you'll at least have your rent covered for the next 3 months.
It's an amazing feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Conscious or subconscious, it really affects your brain.
It really, taking that load off is huge.
Yeah.
I mean,
One that many of us don't think about anymore because we've been trained not to, and that's food storage.
1 to 3 months food storage. I mean, you think about the way humans lived before refrigerators.
Yeah.
You had to think about food storage because winter was coming up.
Yeah.
What do you have preserved, fermented? Do you have meat packed away or whatever?
Yeah. Yeah. Many of us, most of our stuff is in a fridge or a freezer.
What can you imagine? Winter's about to start and you're not sure if you have enough food storages. What does that feel like
Well,
deep down inside?
Never experienced that.
What does that feel like? I wonder.
I don't know.
When that first light, you wake up in the morning and there's that first light dusting of snow, and you're like,
Do I have 4
enough
months of food? That's crazy.
That's
People
intense.
still living today experience that, but not many of us.
Not in the States,
Youngsters.
where we're at.
So, so I do. I've got 3 months of food storage. For us,
Conspiracy theory. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
You're a conspiracy theorist. You say food. You hate it. But yeah, so for us, I've got kids. One of them is gluten, has a gluten allergy. It's not like, it'll kill him, but it'll definitely absolutely destroy his stomach.
Yeah.
So that was a big deal for us because things like bread, gluten-free bread, all that kind of stuff's going to be pretty hard to get.
Yeah.
And again, like, we're not talking like apocalypse here. If that happens, many of us are going to die anyway. So what does it matter? But we're talking like, 3 weeks or 4 weeks of a grocery store being out.
Yeah. I mean, we kind of saw it with 2020.
Yeah.
I mean, one day there was toilet paper and one day there wasn't.
Yeah. Run on the grocery stores. Baby food's been out for a while. This
Yeah.
kind of stuff just happens. For whatever reason, which we'll talk about in another podcast. But, but it happens. So
Yeah. And I mean, if you're going to sit there and say, oh, that'll never happen, that's just stupid. Our
Yeah,
grandfather
'cause it's
lived,
happened.
our grandfather lived through what, a Great Depression, a couple of or a World War, a couple other conflicts.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
like crazy.
It's like they were penny pinchers because they went through some stuff.
And even us. I mean, from 9/11
Yeah.
to the tech bubble to the housing crisis.
Yeah. To the pandemic.
To the pandemic. Here we
So
are.
if you're just going to
We've
be one
been
of
at
those people,
war since we've been in high school.
if you're one of those people who's like, well, that'll never happen, dude, just shut up.
You're gonna starve.
I mean, it's not crazy to have a little bit of extra food. It's not like we have a warehouse full of freaking frozen beans.
I mean, I would if I could. So this will calm your mind consciously and subconsciously, and assuring yourself that you have the ability to preserve your physiological needs for a specific time reason, which allows you to focus on long-term planning.
So true,
That's
bro.
the whole goal here.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, I'm not rich, but I do have many months worth of rent.
Yeah.
Years technically, but
You're not
but the
waking up every day stressed about it.
yeah, I don't have to wake up and say, man, I need an extra whatever.
You can make long-term decisions.
Exactly, and it's a huge load off.
Yeah.
It's pretty sweet. Meditation is the practice of pulling you away from what your brain tells you to focus on
D needs, D needs, D needs, D needs.
and telling your brain what you want to focus on. So this is like a muscle that you can flex and grow over time.
That's right. We talk about that bottom up, top down.
There's this great thing. I think it's NSDR, non-sleep deep rest. It's like yoga nidra, some forms of what's it called? Hypnosis.
Yeah.
Whatever. It is amazing actually, because to shut your brain down for like 20 minutes, you realize how much you're thinking all day. I mean, most people never take a break.
I need to do that.
I mean, except to sleep, and even if their sleep's messed up.
Yeah.
I mean, what if I put you on a treadmill right now, bro, and said, you can't stop? You would probably die.
I would probably die.
Well, now you think about your brain. It's been running on a treadmill for 20, 30, 40 years, and it never stopped,
Yeah.
except to get some shitty sleep once in a while. That's why working on your sleep patterns and your meditation is so important.
So important.
I mean, It's just like a hamster on a wheel. You got to let it calm down once in a
It's
while.
really a good analogy. Just like we talked about, like if you're underwater and you can't breathe, you absolutely panic.
Yeah.
But those extremes are happening in our other basic needs, just like you said, for turning our brain off. Like we're so used to our brains just running constantly.
Yeah.
Even if we're vegging out, but when we're vegging out, we've got the TV on.
It's still
And
stimulation.
we're looking at social.
Yeah. It's still
So we're
stimulation.
cycling through all that stuff. So allocate, force time to focus on long-term goals. So the way you can do this is talk to family about long-term goals. Talk to friends.
Accountability buddies.
Yeah, accountability buddies. That's great. Did that just happen? I've never heard that
No,
before.
I've heard it before.
That's great.
I'm not that quick.
Talk to your financial advisor. If you don't have one, get one. But just talk to people about long-term goals. It will force you to have those conversations. Think about that. Talk about that. And, of course, like we said before, in collaboration, a lot of different other episodes, it'll allow that accountability. Someone saying, hey, how's that thing going? How are you doing on that goal?
If you can find good people,
Yeah, do it.
that makes our life a lot easier than having like shithole friends.
Yeah.
We're like, oh, it's no business. You rich yet?
Don't save your money. Let's just buy my bar tab tonight. Don't you want to have fun tonight? Meaning me spending all your money?
Yeah, exactly. So we've also got, so when you do meet these basic needs, it is helpful to acknowledge it and be grateful.
That's right.
Oh, I am eating a great meal for breakfast and I am grateful that my needs are met.
This is pretty interesting. I put this down, and this is, we talked about, what episode when we talked about having a good committee in your brain?
Yeah, I forget
Giving
the
you
episode,
positive.
but yeah.
Yeah, we talked about the inner narrative.
Yeah.
So the inner critic, to combat the inner critic, we talk about having a committee in your head made up of people that in your life made a positive impact, and listen to those people say some of those really positive quotes. So this is the same thing. This is something that we just, we just don't do this much in our culture anymore.
Yeah.
We don't sit down, eat a meal, and then just reflect on how grateful we are for eating that meal and
Yeah.
sustaining us for that moment. We're either, again, thinking about wanting a better car, getting a promotion, making more money. We're just constantly consumed with whatever we don't have. So this practice is for every single one of these things, like sit down and reflect on the fact that your needs are met. And probably with what we consume from a food standpoint, your needs are probably met for like 3 days per meal because we eat so much fat and salt.
Yeah. It's so true, bro. And I mean, it makes sense. I mean, in the United States, at least the time that I've been here growing up, it's like basically the land of milk and honey.
Yeah.
We can get whatever we want whenever we want. There is no in or out of season. You want strawberries in December?
Got them.
You want avocados in January?
Got them.
Who cares?
Who cares?
You get whatever you can get whatever you want whenever you want.
Yeah.
That's
wild.
You don't have to wait till next, cherry season. You want a cherry pie? Go get one.
Go get it.
So it's like, there's just not that same attitude where you're grateful for anything.
Yeah.
It's like if you have nothing, then you're grateful for anything.
No. It's weird not to move into a total shame construct, but
It's just kind of how we grew up.
I mean, yeah, and it's I don't know, there's still so many people in the world that get just enough calories for the day. They make $2 a week,
Yeah.
Getting
sulfur out of the volcano pit or whatever. You seen those workers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're traveling, a lot of those workers are traveling like hundreds of miles away from where their family lives to work,
Yeah.
For months, and then they go back for,
Yeah, I was watching the video, what is it, limestone, people getting limestone in Egypt, cutting it out of the ground, cutting it out of the ground.
It's wild.
And it's like, there's no safety, there's no health regulations, people lose arms, it's like, and they make like what, $3 a day or something?
Yeah. Isn't that weird? All the products we consume and use are under those conditions, but yet in America, if we don't get our 15-minute breaks, we can sue. Isn't that weird? It's just fucking weird. Anyway, so again, I paid my rent. So back to meeting
Yeah.
our most basic needs. So like meditating and reflecting on when your needs are met. So I paid my rent, my mortgage for a month. So I'm good. I got shelter for 30 days.
Yep.
Right? So it's these little things.
Right. It allows your brain to have confidence that the needs are met and to give you permission to focus.
Which is a critical component to all this.
Exactly.
So tomorrow, when you plan your day, don't respond to the day. Take 15 minutes before you go to bed and plan your day tomorrow. Take a minute and
be grateful.
Be grateful. When you consume a meal, say, I'm
'Cause
good.
Technically, you can die tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just the way it is.
And then the meditation practice is sit down and reflect on the fact that your most basic needs are met, and then take a 30-minute or 1 hour session
Yeah.
and focus on your dreams.
The fact that you even have the opportunity and ability to focus on something besides your basic needs is in itself something to be grateful for.
Yeah.
And it's not a luxury most people have
Yeah.
in the world.
Sweet.
Well, we got pretty serious for a second, bro. All right.
All right.
Well, do the plugs.
Oh,
Go
yeah.
to Forms and Focus.
Yeah, formsandfocus.com. Subscribe. Go to search Forms and Focus on YouTube and subscribe there so we can get over our mark and actually
Turned it into
turn it into youtube.com/formsandfocus.
Gosh. Check out the TikTok.
Yeah, check it all out.
Sweet, bro. All
All right, bro. Let's go.